Good afternoon or good morning. We just give it 2 more minutes for everybody to join because we see a lot of people still joining. Okay, good morning everyone, or good afternoon, good morning in the US. Welcome in this webcast for K3 Pebblestone. Well, Ali, our product manager and the proud mom of our Gen 2 Pebblestone will be presenting a lot of new cool stuff today for us. So looking forward to that, and we're really proud of the things that we have achieved. It's not just from the most recent release, but also from the updates before that, but we think it's good to at least give you once or twice a year an update on what's new and give you a bit of an overview and also a bit of the thinking behind it. Well, by the way, my name is Gerien Kameraad, what you could have seen on the screen, and I will be mainly hosting today, and I will also make sure that your questions are being addressed by Ali. Just for everybody to know, the session will be recorded and will be made available afterwards, so you can share it with colleagues or look back to certain elements. Well, we put everybody on mute throughout the session, but please feel free to ask the questions in the chat box. I will monitor that and then also make sure that that we have them answered. So feel free to do so. And depending on the time, we might be have some time for questions, even in talking at the end, but I'm not sure how much time we'll take. So the floor is yours, Ali.
Oh, thanks, Gerien. Well, I will put up the camera because then you have the full screen. The agenda for today. Yeah, so K3 Pebblestone Cargo Management. That is a module we have released. The first release was, I think, in October last year, and we have released some new features and functions. So I think it's a good moment to give you a complete overview of what we have built there. So we will go into the cargo document, the packages, the routings, and the item supply overview, which has been released in April, that last part. Then a landed cost is also some nice things to show you. So what is a landed cost group, calculation templates, and also the item calculation sheet will be shown. Then the K3 CSR, Corporate Social Responsibility, that has been released in April. And yeah, I'd like to show you what CSR classifications do we have, what is a checklist, and what kind of insights can we get from the system on CSR. And there is also a nice sneak preview on what's coming. I have been talking to some partners and I have already mentioned that there is something cool coming, and I noticed that a lot of partners are very excited about that. So I think, yeah, I asked the developer to make a print screen of what we have started to create, but that is for at the end. But let's start with K3 cargo management. And of course, we will do that in the system. So we have created the cargo management functionality, and it's available under logistics, and there you can go to the cargo document. Well, cargo management enables businesses to effortlessly oversee, manage, and distribute their cargo to a warehouse with simple to use features. The fashion companies can seamlessly access key information about vendors, transport routes, dates, and other essential documentation to ensure that they have everything they needed to operate without a hassle. And everything starts with the cargo document. We have a lot of information on the cargo document, like, well, cargo document has a number, and usually a cargo document is, for example, a vessel, or it's an airplane, where a group of products are distributed at the same time. So in this case, we look at a vessel, and that vessel comes from China. We can see that here because we have a cargo route attached to it, to the cargo document, and the route explains the way the cargo is going. So it comes from the production company and it goes by train to the harbor in China. That takes 2 days. Maybe it's better like this. Then it goes on the ship and it takes 1 month to get to Rotterdam in this case. And then from Rotterdam, it goes by truck to the warehouse of the brand owner. All in total, it's 1 month and 3 days to get the products in. We have also ETE and ETD dates. We have some other information on cargo, yeah, like clearance on customs and everything, and certificates, packing list, invoices. They can also yeah, be set up here or send notifications like this. Attached to the cargo document, we have the fact box, and the fact box shows what items are linked to this cargo document. So, for example, we have 3 different items here, and of course, by clicking on the cargo and on the fact box, we can see which 3 items are attached to this cargo document. The same goes for the purchase documents.
Ali, the fact box itself is not in screen.
Oh, you don't see it?
And now I see it, but when you were on the fact box, we didn't see it well.
Oh,
but we
okay.
can see it when you click through. So.
Okay. Okay. Now, but when I click through it, it is. Oh, okay.
And it's opening the screen and we see
now
it.
You can see, now you can see it, right? So here we have the fact box.
Yeah.
Okay. So the purchase documents attached to this cargo document are 2, and those are the 2 numbers. And also we have the individual lines there. If we go under, we see that the cargo document has lines, and the lines are representing the boxes, or could be containers or pallets. But in this case, this cargo document has like 8 boxes attached to that. And in every box we have items, and we can here see that in this case 48 items are attached to this box. Again, we see which purchase document it is attached to, and we can also see that it is containing a t-shirt with long sleeves in the pink, and the sizes are attached here. We can also see the number of pieces, and we can also see the weight, which is also used. And I show you that on the package. That weight is used to give the total weight of the box in, with all the items in. So the net weight is representing the items. So in this case, 3 kilos 36. And including the box, the whole box weighs 3 kilos and 66. So that is calculated by using the net weight of the item. We have boxes, but we can, as said before, also make pallets or containers. And that can be set up here. And here also you can go and show the content of the box. So a lot of insights there to go to the information. So again, to the cargo documents.
I have also a question for you in the meantime, Ali. You were referring to that ETA, and then you said something about ETD. What does that exactly mean in the application?
Yeah, so we have different dates, ETE and ETD, and we have created a main, and we have created a for the warehouse. So the ETA is the expected receipt date in the warehouse, and the main is then the expected receipt date in the harbor. So there is a difference between when you can really expect it in the warehouse, which is of course for the brand owner, the company, very important, and when it is due to arrive in the harbor. So expected date of arrival and expected date of the departure. That is the difference between them. Okay. Again, the main is for the harbor, and the warehouse is really on the floor of the company where you can start delivering to your customers the garments.
Okay, thanks, clear.
Yeah. Oh, let's refresh. Hang on. There are different ways to receive the cargo document, and we can receive the cargo document directly on the cargo document here by using this button, and then doing and setting the posting date, and then you can do it. But it is also now possible to use the receipt worksheet. And there is a new button, calculate plan, based on the cargo documents. And then you can choose, for example, I want to receive 1 or 2 or 3 cargo documents all at once, and then the data is loaded. And the fact box here is also showing you how many packages and how many cargo documents are being received. So we created a new way of calculation because it was technical challenge to do that in the same, so that's why we have separated that. On the cargo document itself, you can also see if the cargo document has been received, and in this case we have some outstanding items here. It hasn't been received, so if we do receive the document, posting date, see that item is connected, and you see that the receiving date is today. So now the individual lines have been received on the purchase order, because that is linked, of course. So if we go to the purchase order, we can see that there are more here on the purchase document, but there has been partly delivered. It has been partly delivered. And if I can go to another feature, let me see. Did I write it down? I'm looking for the no, navigate and norm. Okay, now I was looking for the document note to show you that we have received 2 separate deliveries. but I can't find it that quickly, so let's leave it. Yeah, we have a partly delivery here. Okay, so now the document has been received. There is also a possibility to import package information, and we created some tool for that, where we can easily import data. Let me show you. And that we do that by a piece of functionality we call Excel field mapping, and that allows the user to map columns in an Excel file to fields in a table. The field mapping can be used in specific reports, which is created to import data from an Excel file. K3 Pebblestone Cargo Management comes with 3 different examples. This was, I can show you, we have one on color size, on item reference, or on variant. But it is just an example to inspire you how you could import the data, which comes from your vendor. We have created technical release notes for that, so you can understand how it works and how you can use it, but also how you could create your own Excel field mapping. And if you go to the technical release notes, you will find here a document which explains how this works. And this is not only used for the cargo document, but also the sales report for the consignment is using this. So this is quite nice, and it is worth investigating, so you can see what you can do more with that. But you need credentials for this to go to this part of the portal, because it's under the portal login. So these are the technical release notes. And we are building up this documentation here, where we provide our partners with more insights on what we have built. And they are quite, a lot of information is there about, for example, also landed cost. And for consultant is giving you more insights on how to set up landed cost and how you can use it with your customers. So a lot of detail there for consultants. But as said, we have started to build this kind of documentation, and we will add also, when we do updates, we will make sure that we update the data, and we say, okay, it's been updated in April, for example, in this case. The same goes for landed cost. So it will give the partners as much information as we have, so it makes your life easier.
And in case you don't have the credentials to log in here, please let us know, and then we will make sure that we create an account for you. Because you're used to have everything open, but we put this behind a login. Ali, in the meantime, I have 2 more questions on the landed, on the cargo management. One is also on the ETA. So will the ETA of the warehouse update the expected receipt date on the order?
Yeah, on the purchase order. Yes, that information is available on the purchase order. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. And then another one.
Something. Yes, I'm just the item supply overview will provide you with that insight, but I will show you that after this. Yeah.
Okay. And then there is another one. Is it also possible to assign lot numbers to items in a box?
I would say maybe not yet, but
okay, but then we will get back to we just check, and we'll get back to you then.
Yeah, because the sneak preview will probably give some insights which
how that will be. Yeah.
Possible. Okay. But anyway, yeah, good point. Let's take it offline to see what we can do now.
Yeah. Okay.
And maybe better understand what you were after. So it's worth discussing this in some more detail. Yeah, let's move on to the item supply overview. It is the next version of the item supply planning, which we had in previous versions. The team have made the item supply planning absolute, which means that it's no longer available in K3 Pebblestone, but the item supply overview is now part of Pebblestone Cargo Management. The item supply overview shows all the incoming items within K2 Pebblestone, and it provides details from the purchase order, production order, transfer orders, cargo documents, and packages in combination with delivery dates, ETE and ETA. The item supply overview is a tree-view map, or tree-view page actually, where the user can select the fields of the overview level. The data is loaded every time the page is opened, and this will not be saved, and it makes sure that all the information is always up to date. The overview levels will make it possible for the user to create different tree views in the item supply overview. I will show you 2 examples to inspire you, but feel free to create your own overviews because this is very easy to do. The item supply overview is loaded with when you select some items, item numbers. You can do it like this, and you see here information available. What you could also do is go to the list itself, and if you would like to look at all the items, maybe from a specific season, you could use the filter option and just say, show me all the items for 2022, spring, summer. It filters the list, and by just select all the items, you would filter, and there is nothing there because this is not the season where we have that, but it will filter you all these items, and you see all the items from that season. So it's just using the standard filter options to fill, and what it is also allowing you to, if you want to do that based on delivery drop or collection or what any other field on the item card, you can do that. So I think that's really cool. But let's take a look at some items which have some data. This being the demo environment. And what we can see is we have an overview level set up based on item number, color, and packages. And that looks then as follows. So we have an item, if we would collapse it, we have an item, and that item is having different colors, and those different colors are on different packages, and the packages contain purchase orders. And you can see it here. And this other color has other purchase orders, or it's the same in this case. And then you can see the number of pieces, of course, also the planned receipt dates, but also all the information comes from the cargo document. So like, again, the package, the departing port, and also the ETD. So these are all available. So this is the way you could look at it. But if we would change this, and I'm just opening the view again, so I can change this view, because I have set this up as standard. But I can also say I now would like to look at the information, and then I would like to base it on the cargo document. And you can choose from all these fields we have here. So choose the cargo document. I would like to start the overview with the cargo document. I would like then to look at the packages and move it up. And then I would like to see the item card, the item number. I don't want to look at the color at this point. Delete it. Okay. And now I will do the same selection. And now it shows me cargo document, packages, item number, and then the linked purchase lines. Again, with the same dates available coming from the cargo document and coming from the item card, for example. This will give you a lot of insight on when items are coming. And by this, using the overview level, you can create the overview customer need. So I think that is very useful. Well, this was everything I had prepared for cargo management. And let's now take a look at landed cost. And first, before I do that, I would like to explain a little bit about the structure of the structure of landed cost. Yeah, the landed cost, the term landed cost refers to the sum of expenses associated with shipping and products, such as taxes and fees for international shipping. If businesses sell their products at a landed cost, they would not make any profit. K-Treat landed cost enables businesses to quickly use templates and sheets to determine their landed cost. And each calculation also makes it possible to set up wholesale and retail margins. K-Treat landed cost is built on top of Dynamics 365 Business Central, which K-Treat Pebblestone expands upon with additional functionality which builds specific for the fashion wholesalers. And this means that K-Treat landed cost can also be used without Pebblestone. And that is also why we have launched it as K3 landed cost, because it is, yeah, you are able to also use it without Pebblestone. There is a small feature which makes it fashion specific, but actually the main development has been based on Business Central. And that is why we also have explained in the feature list that you can use it without Pebblestone. So Business Central, landed cost, Pebblestone on top, and then it makes it a K3 Pebblestone landed cost. And that is the way we are building actually all our apps.
So the same applies to cargo management?
Yeah, in principle, yes. But to really confidently say that that is the case, actually I need to test it myself. But yes, the developers are reassuring me that it is the way it should work. And the same is also for CSR, because again, we are building on top of Business Central and then we put the fashion functionality on top of it. But really to put it out there and say that it will work for sure without Pebblestone, I would like to test it first. That is why I'm not saying that at this moment. But that is, yeah, we think that it will work the same way. Well, at least it has been built like that. So yes, it should work that way.
Yeah, so it's fair to say that it's designed like that, and the same applies for CSR, right? But it's just in the coming weeks, we will also do the final test to make sure that there were really no issues there.
Yeah, exactly. So to really make sure that it is working, but there is no reason for it not to be work, because the developers have actually every app is developed like that. The way that is how we started building the solution. So
Okay.
yeah, so let's see what that brings in the solution functional wise. But let's start with the landed cost groups. So the landed cost can be set up in groups. Freight is set up, and you can have different kind of transport costs, like through the air, road, sea, but also have different ones coming from China, or if it's Europe, probably the costs are different. It can be based on a percentage, or it can be a fixed value. But users can set this up the way they would like to, and also as many as they would like to. So we have some landed cost, but we also have the same like for the retail margin. So the markup, again, can be set up like the customer needs, and the same is for the wholesale margin. So that makes it very flexible, and customers can adjust it the way they like. The calculation is done based on templates. And we created in the demo company 2 templates to inspire customers or partners. And this is how a template looks like. So we see you have a purchase order, which is the unit cost. You have the costing elements, and which can be done based on percentage or fixed value. And the formula makes shows how the calculation should be done. Then you have the overhead cost, landed cost, the margin, sales price is the unit price on the item card at the end, and the retail markup ends up into the recommended retail price. We also created, and that looks a little bit more complicated, a template where we can simulate if, and I will have a good example which maybe sense, which simulates if you would adjust the recommended retail price, what the purchase price should be then. And it is also that we have here column names, which you can call your own, and make sure that you only see the ones who have a sorting, because there is a lot of information here, and if you would see all the fields, it's very complicated. So that is why we made it such a way that the user can choose the column names, and by not or deleting the sorting, these fields will not be available in the item calculation sheet. And how does that look like in practice? Let me show you. This is what you end up then seeing. So we have a purchase price, and it could be a different one for the local currency if you are using a different currency, of course. Then we see the insurance, the freight, the duty, and the landed cost, with the margin of the wholesale ends up to a sales price of €15.12. And then the recommended retail price calculated by using the markup, the retail markup, the recommended retail price would be $38.95. You have all kinds of rounding methods to make sure that you get nice figures here. And then we have a simulation, and what we see here, and I'm just gonna delete it for now. Calculate. So if this T-shirt, for example, you can't sell for €38.95, but you could sell it for €35, and you would like to see what the purchase price needs to be then. And by just typing in, and that is the calculation I was just showing the template, it will calculate what the purchase price should be if you would like to sell it for €35. And then the purchase price should be €9.22 and not €10. And this could be the starting point for negotiation with your vendor, saying, okay, this T-shirt I can't sell for this price. So what can we do to reach to the 9.22, for example? And the calculation card is behind this. So all these figures are coming from this calculation. It is also now possible if you, for example, say, I want to change the insurance from 25 to 30, you can easily, in the item calculation card, change it here on the spot. So the purchase price goes to the last direct unit cost of the item card. The sales price is the unit price on the item card, and the recommended retail price is the recommended retail price on the item card. That will be done when the calculation is set to base calculation, and you certify the calculation itself. then that price comes available there. Of course, you can have different calculations, but there can only be one base calculation, and then it can be updated to the item card. Well, that's in a nutshell the landed cost and calculation. And then the last part is about K3 Pebblestone CSR, so corporate social responsibility. We provide classifications on products, raw materials, and vendors, and each classification can be complemented by a certificate or other relevant documentation to provide details on items or vendors if they on their sustainable history. To ensure fashion businesses have all the information needed to decide whenever to proceed with a product, a material, or a vendor. And for this release, we have the following features available. So we have the CSR classifications. And we have different type of classifications. So classification can have a type vendor, can have a type item or raw material. And in the case of this classification, sustainable social, we see that there is checklist. And the checklist for this classification is checking if there are working schedules available, if there is daylight present, if there are fair wages, and if there is a certificate available. We can see that some of them are mandatory and others aren't. And we also have a picture attached to that. This is one example. If we go to the raw material, and we have made some changes to do this on top of raw materials. So if we would say organic cotton has a certificate attached to that. And we can also see that we have an image here. So if this...
Your voice was dropping. The last sentence was dropped, but it sounded like you were very far away from the microphone.
Oh, I don't think so. Okay, so the raw materials can have different certificates. And if this raw material is used on an item, that automatically that certificate is also available on that item card. So if we would have a look at an item, which could have certificates on its own or classifications on its own, but it can also come from using a specific raw material. So we have here an item, and that item, and we have created a fact box on the item card to show, has different certificates based on the item, but we can also see that the 100% organic cotton is attached, and that comes from a raw material. And that is triggered by the composition. Here it is. So I have attached the composition to this product, and the composition 100% organic cotton has on its own a CSR classification, and that means that also the item has that classification attached to it. So that is, the raw material can have a CSR classification, the item can have a classification, but also the vendor can have a classification. And we created an extra level on vendor, and that is the production address. So a vendor can now, and this is also new functionality, can have different production addresses. And the production addresses could have different CSR classifications. Like you can see, the production address in China has only one CSR classification, and the one in Vietnam has two.
Okay, so really being on production address here, right? Not on the supplier level, but a level below that already.
Yeah, some extra level we have added. But of course,
that's good to have, right? Because I think in mainly in Germany, but it will probably coming soon in the rest of Europe as well. That's a mandatory step soon to be.
Yeah.
So it's good to have that level of detail already.
Yeah, yeah. And if you look at the CSR classification, in this case on the production address, and we have attached as sustainable social, and there was a checklist attached, if you remember. And this checklist is now comes available for this production address. And we can see that we have these 3 lines. We can see that's mandatory or not. And we can attach a document, so that could be a certificate or a picture or photo or whatever that can be attached to that line. That line, you can also say if these working schedules are available, and I've checked that, so that can be approved. But for example, daylight was not present, so we can decline this. Or you can also leave it blank if this needs to be checked for this vendor. In a later stage, these checks will be used when you create a purchase order. That hasn't been developed yet. But of course, if there is some line here which is mandatory and it has been declined, that means if I'm trying to create a purchase order for this production place, there will be a notification or an error saying when creating a purchase order for this production address, there is some requirement not met, daylight is not present, so please find another production place to, or maybe solve this. So that workflow will be also part of what will come in the future. So that is on classification, and we also have the possibility to look where classifications are being used. And now I need to hang on. Go back to the CSR classifications. And for example, if I look at this classification, I have a button where used, and I can see which vendors are having, who have this classification. Or in this case, I also have an item classification and which items have this classification. So then you know which items you want to use, for example. Well, that is everything in CSR what we have so far.
I have a question for you in the meantime, but I like just to stress that I think it's really cool to have this in the application now, because we see it at a lot of fashion companies being top of mind. On one hand, because there's more regulations, and on the other hand, because I guess the consumers are just more interested in how sustainable their products are. So real nice feature and nicely executed by the team. But I have a question referring back to blended cost.
Yeah.
It came a bit later, so then I decided to wait for you to finish the CSR part. The landed cost, how are they used in a purchase order? Or connected to, yeah.
Cost, first of all, it is updated by the item card. And then when you choose that item, the information is then, of course, also on the purchase order. But it can also be on the purchase order, you can choose a different landed cost or different calculation. So that
so you have the option there to switch to another one for, let's say you get it from China instead of from Portugal, then you can switch to a different costing sheet.
Yeah, or it is checking then, okay, do I have a classification for this specific vendor? And then I will use on the purchase order that the landed cost, that cost price. Yeah.
Okay, cool, nice. That's the question so far. So now we're all up to date with the questions. Yeah.
Okay. Well, then let me go back to the presentation because I promised a sneak preview. Oh yeah, maybe it's also good before we go into the sneak preview, just to emphasize again that we have a lot of information available on the portal, and all the apps have feature lists. The feature list is always showing all the functionality we have. So the cargo management, I just made sure that everything is up to date now. You see also that there is the date there. Maybe I can just briefly go to the portal just to show you. So you can also see on the date if it is, of course I try to make it as up to date as possible, but I will make sure that in the link the date is always there. So you can also see if it has been updated already. But the apps I just explained, the cargo management, landed cost, and CSR have been up to date, updated. And you can see here the date, and also on the document itself, it's June. But for example, if you would see a feature list and it says April and we are already June, you can always go to the release notes, and the release notes will explain what came in from April until June. So that information will also always be available there. And here you can also go back to all the versions. They are always there available. So we have the release notes and the feature list. Something else we have added to the portal recently is the data sheets, which is even a more higher level of a subset of the functionality we are bringing there, and explains. So for example, we have cargo management, data sheet for cargo management, and it shows you high level what it is. So it can be used to send to a prospect just to make them curious about the functionality.
And all in our new house style, right? So
all in our new house style.
Yeah, the rest of the portal is still being updated, but the data sheets are already fully up to date.
The data sheets and the ones I, of course, I'm updating, I also convert to the new house style, but it is a lot of work, so not everything is being updated. But the information in the documentation is as updated as possible, although it is maybe on an older template. Okay, the last thing, the sneak preview. I have been talking to some partners about this. We are working on getting the sublines back in the solution. Very important to a lot of partners to have this functionality, because also it allows to work with a reservation and other things. And this is this is coming from the developer, so it is a sneak preview. But what you see is that we have a type added to the solution, and that's matrix. So that's the normal matrix, you know, and it's bold, so you know it's a matrix. But now it is possible to collapse the matrix, and then you would see the subline. So this matrix is collapsed, and then you can see that the individual lines are available. And also it makes it available to reserve quantity then. And you can see in this case we have reserved size small, and also in the matrix you see that this reserve quantity is updated. And the same goes if I would change the small in 3, the matrix line will of course also be updated in 10 in total. And you can also see the price here. The bold says that it is the matrix, and you can see that it is the price of the individual item, but you can see that the line amount is the total of the complete matrix. And the same goes for this. The line, you see, this is 1 and this is 2, and you can also see that that is also updated, of course. This is now the sales order. So we have started with the sales order. The purchase order will follow. The plan is as soon as possible, but on the roadmap we are saying that this is coming in October. If it is available sooner, we will release it, because we know a lot of partners are really looking forward to this kind of functionality. But yeah, it's a lot of work, and it's really getting into the core of the solution. So yeah, we need to have extra time to make sure that it is it's good, of course, and it works all, everywhere. So sales orders first, purchase orders then, and then also production orders, but that can also be a challenge, but that will certainly be also added. The sublines will also be added there, and transfer orders. But I think it really looks cool, and the whole team is very excited that that this is coming, because it gives a lot of solutions to some of the challenges and issues we have and see with our partners. So very excited about that.
Yeah, well, it'll be really powerful, right, to have that, especially if you have a bit more complex items or a business model.
Exactly, bigger larger customers are also looking forward to that.
Cool. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, and
Nice
then the roadmap, we can see where we are focusing on. Well, July is more. It's more in detail, and then well, we will of course continue working on Pebblestone Csr manufacturing, also a big focus on that. Some finishing work on landed cost, also OCP is also important to connect our platform to other parties, and continue with in January PDM. We have some work, we would like to do some work there, like PDM PLM functionality, and also the warehouse management, the connection to Tasklet is something we will pick up and make it more advanced, and that is more for the future. That's it. Thank you for watching. And if there are any questions.
Thank you, Ali, for a very informative session. I think it's been appreciated, and I see a lot of people asking again whether we will share the recording, and yes, we will. We will send them, and then you're free to share them with your colleagues or watch it again or watch certain parts again. So we will make sure it's sent to everybody who subscribes for this session.
Okay, well, and if there are questions, you of course know where to reach me, right? So send me an email, or bring it up in monthly catch-up calls. Let me know.
Yeah, and also feel free if you have any suggestions on functionality, but also on the documentation portal, right? We put a lot of effort to make it as good as possible and try to reach the right level in between too detailed and too high over, so to find the right level. But if you have any feedback, please let us know. You can always learn and improve.
Yeah, for sure. Okay.
Okay, thanks a lot for your time. And well, for some of it, holiday might start soon already. I think especially in the Nordic countries have a tendency to go early, so or at least for us early, and in the southern part a bit later. But have a good summer, and well, let's stay in touch.
Yeah. Okay. Thanks. Bye.
Thank you. Bye bye.